to Speakherbox podcast with your favorite host, myself, Nadia, Sasso, and
S-hekh, Shem, Hetep.
We are so excited to have you guys here for Collection 3 and 3 whole episodes. This is our first episode that we're about to do. Everyone knows our first episode is always me and S-hekh, just breaking it down from a personal perspective. And then in our second, we're going to have our tribe, which is going to be a nice round table discussion.
That's why we on the marble table.
Yes.
You know, like the red table, we kind of bootleg copied it.
But marble is better than red, so I think we kind of upped it. We bougified it or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we wanted to bring y'all to the hood table. That's what it is. If we had some dominoes, it would have, like, you know, the little dominoes.
We was a nice word for
spades.
Hood, fancy hood. What's
Bugetto?
Yeah, we got a Bugetto marble table.
Marble table. It's expensive though,
yeah, it's
so
heavy
I feel
though,
like
so it might be real.
Yeah.
I'm Aunt Mill. That's my mother.
So we had. Tell them what came out the soapbox.
So what came out the soapbox? As we talk about relationships, we were listening to Tim's, which is like, I think everyone has been through a toxic relationship or a relationship, a good one, whatever, but it really, you know, it haunts you. It really breaks down your very existence for you to grow and for you to learn any type of relationship. So I think to have her song Try Me, I think that's relatable whether you're dating someone, you were whatever, any relationship that has made you like, oh let me get this together or rethink this, or is it challenging me? Is it making me grow? Is it turning me into a better person? I think that's definitely the song.
Right. And she's a dope artist, so it's a good vibe, and it's like, it takes you through a little.
I've listened to her songs, Try Me, Damages. She has a couple of other songs, Free Your Mind, but it reminds me of when SZA's Control came out.
Okay.
Yeah. That song was really like, the album, not song, the album, SZA's album, because it was a lot of songs.
Do you find like really, the first albums are usually, when it comes to women, they usually are like, those are like the best albums. Like Adele made her whole career talking about relationships. Cardi
B's first album.
Relationships.
Relationships at the core of a lot of things, y'all. So we gotta get this together. We gotta get this right. You know, we gotta I hate using that P word, perfect, because it's not that, but and you know, it's a beautiful struggle, but how can we make it more beautiful than a struggle?
Right. And just like, especially understanding like black love too, it's like many layers of like relationships or situationships or wherever you're at. It's like, you know, I think
which is why we're unboxing all these layers in 3 episodes. Unfortunately isn't enough.
No, it's not enough. But while we were cultivating this collection and we were trying to figure out what the guests to bring on the next episode, the next 2 episodes, we were like, wow, it's so many things, the topics to cover, from generational. I know, like, with me and Nadia, we talk about like how we maneuver dating and where we at. We always like, well, we learned this from our parents. We learned it, and we're like unlearning from our parents, or like unlearning from our aunts or something like that. So it's so many layers.
So many layers. But we hope you enjoy this episode, and we gonna get started. I think, as S-hekh was saying, you know, when we talk about, our first relationships are with our parents and people that raised us, right? So how do those kind of define who we are, and the relationships that we tend to move forward into? So do you want to, take a stab at that?
Well, let me think about when we talk about relationships, and our parents, what you guys already know, I come from a Caribbean background, so you don't ask any questions in the Caribbean background. So when I'm dating, I picked up, I think that it is kind of not, I don't want to say bad habit or good habit, but a habit that may not work in this new era. Maybe when my parents were dating, the woman didn't really question things or ask questions or like that, right? So I would say I had to kind of unlearn bad communication skills.
Ooh, I had to learn that too. I had to just learn how to communicate,
right?
But I think this also brings back, if we had to tie it back to our last episode when we had Erica Pittman as our guest, and her book, What Mommy Would Have Told, what you wish Mommy would have told you. Right. I think that's the basis to this discussion. Like, there's so many things about relationships I wish our parents, while my parents are not Caribbean, they're still from, the West Africa, and still the diaspora. There's a lot of things that they didn't really break down to us.
So your parents didn't talk to you about relationships?
No, it was like, don't date until you're like finished college. And y'all know I just graduated in 2019. By that time I'm 30 years old to be exact, 30. And it's like, oh, okay, so technically I shouldn't have been dating till I just started dating. If you know, we go by the rules that were set forth.
Yeah, so they didn't set you up right then.
No,
because they told you not to date until you finished school.
No, and I really did never make.
And she got a doctor's, by the way. She wasn't.
Yeah, but I really also never made dating a priority because of that, you know, because it was like being first gen, you were taught that was a reason they did that, because they wanted you to focus on school, getting these degrees, doing all these different things. And so, you know, I remember, if I think back to my undergraduate years, my counterparts who probably did not look like me, you know, it was a privilege. They could literally focus on dating and exploring and having fun, whereas I was so busy trying to get ahead and get to the next level.
Right. Education has definitely played a big role in it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think me and my mom ever had a conversation about dating at all. I don't think she ever said to me, like, you should date this type of guy. My mom got married pretty young. She was 24, 25 when she got
so did my parents got married young too.
And I'm not sure if her parents talked to her about dating. Yeah. You know, because my grandmother, she was the last of 9. So by that time, I think my grandmother probably was like, your siblings need to tell you about dating. Like, and I think that's how my mom operated, was your siblings. I'm the last of 4. So I don't think I ever had a conversation about dating. So I think when I do date, like when I'm in a relationship, I'm very private. And I don't feel like I need to share anything.
Ditto. I don't share relationships. Y'all know that. Y'all don't really
because it's like, it's not something that is talked about. Like, I never had to be like.
Not only that, on top of that, we come from a culture where, like, you cover what's yours, like, you protect. Those are things that need to be protected. And nowadays with social media, I just feel like relationships are hard enough.
That's another story, right?
I personally, I'm only competing against me, so I don't want to put my relationship out there that I'm competing against the best couples and relationship goals. No, I want to live in our own bubble, in our own realm, where we get up and we get up and fall, we get up and fall, and it's on us. And it's not all these extra people that we have to live up to their expectations or things that we've put out to the world.
And we all know what people do when you put your man on there and you tag him or your significant other. That person, that whoever's your friends or whatever, they go to his page, they look through his comments or her comments, and they be like, "Oh, is that really him?" Like,
it's crazy because well, I'm dating someone now. I don't follow him. He doesn't follow me. We've never had. I don't even really follow. If I'm dating you, I really don't want to introduce social media into our relationship. Period.
No. And then social media does become a problem, because I hear so many stories where girls or guys get like, they get like, did you see that person that liked her photo, or it could be like, why are you talking to that person in that DM, or why are you, and it's like, are we really having an argument about social media? Like, you know me in real life.
People be coming to my DMs, but I think that you gotta keep in mind, people coming to the DMs, those things can happen, but that's where you have to really trust the person you're with. Like, I don't know, I'm just not for that, and so, and I don't give him a reason to be like, worried about those things, because I'm gonna shut it down. Period.
Yeah, I have a rule of thumb. If I post you or anything, that me and you are not dating. So, like, I never followed any guy that I was with. I never.
And this is why we're friends.
Yeah, I just don't feel the need. Like, you don't need to be my friend on social media. I know you in real life. We go. I see you. I roll over and I look over to you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need to have. I don't need to show the world that you're dating. And that comes. I read an article about this woman who, she was a black woman. I forgot the name of the article, but she wrote a whole article about her pregnancy and marriage is not up for public display.
I agree.
And she really
I feel the same way about pregnancy or having kids.
Yeah. She broke down, like, 'cause she was like, a lot of her friends got offended that they didn't know she got married and had a baby. And she said, but why is that a thing now? Why is it that you have to say, look at me, look at my baby, I know you're like, why is it not normalized that some people just want to keep that to themselves? It's not because their relationship might have problems, or they, she isn't, or something is wrong within it. But it's just like, I just want something for me.
Yeah, and that's totally me. I'm very, there's some things I want to keep for me.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with everybody else. Right. It's just, how can we exist in this realm with us and, like, be the best versions of ourselves?
And I think this new age of putting everything of your relationship, like a breakup, an argument, it could be detrimental to also yourself. Right. So but
if I do bring it up, I think it's important that, because I know we're not going to probably stay too long on the social media and relationships part, but I just want to say, if I do bring it up, it's kind of it's to be a teachable moment or inspiration or something. But to just bring it up, no, thank you.
And it's okay though if you are that type of relationship.
Right.
You guys are like, I want to document everything for social media. That's totally fine.
Oh yeah, it is totally fine. But for me, that's a trigger. Or it's like I maybe not be in the mental space to publicly share certain things like that, or invite people into that conversation, or be ready to talk about it with other people because it's just so private to me, whereas some people, they do have the bandwidth and the overflowing of energy to really engage in that way. Right. I just don't have it. I'm working towards it, but I just don't have the extra energy for it.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of want, my thing is like, I do put like little tidbits of what I would do when I am in a relationship. Like I always say, like when I'm dating a guy, I'm his biggest fan. So before he leaves that door, I'm hyping him out, but all the way up to like get his door. So I will share that aspect, but never like tag him or put a photo or but I always try to be like I feel like for your partner, you should be their
biggest cheerleader.
Hell yes. Because the world breaks you down so much. Like,
so in the home, you gotta cheer each other on. Yeah. And I think that's with any relationship, right? So we're talking about dating, but at the same time, like you have a relationship with your kids, you have a relationship with your mother, you have a relationship with your friends. Like if it's my friend, know that if you my girl, every photo, let's pour into each other. Juju, affirmations, you got this. Like, so it's like we also have to get into the habit of any relationship pouring in and being the best cheerleaders, because life is already hard. Like their first compliment shouldn't be outside the house. It should be a coworker, because that's when they start like, oh, this coworkers make me feel good, and I ain't feeling good like this at home. Like, it's just like, no, that's one of the things that I do try to do when I'm dating a guy. It's like when we really are dating, not a situationship. I can't do any more situationships. So let's break that down. Okay, so why can't you do any more situations? I feel like,
okay, let me clear that up. I feel like I can't do anything that's confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's not clear anymore, like I am not in my 20s anymore.
So are you dating right now?
I am. Okay, no, I put a pause on dating. I did put a pause on dating because I really wanted to, I have a lot going on, and I realized that I really eventually want like a family, and I want to learn balance first. I want to like really unlearn some behaviors that I did learn, and really work on what kind of relationship I want to cultivate next. So I did put like a pause. Being intentional, yeah. Okay. Because like I feel like I was in a long 2 year, it's like for me like a forever breakup. I'm like, why is this taking 2 years to get out of this? And it just began. So I was just like it was just so many things that like came out of that, which was so good for me because it was a mirror. So it was a mirror, and all these insecurities, all these things that I didn't realize about myself, or like things like boundaries that I didn't really stick to, that I'm like, so all those things were tested.
Boundaries, keywords. These are keywords. Intention, boundaries.
Yeah.
Which you.
And I would say that like one thing about my mom and dad's relationship, they did say that they spoke about how they were going to raise children. They spoke about what family looked like. They were on the same page. So if anything happened to one another, or if they broke up or anything, they already spoke about, this is our plan, And now I think like I want to be very clear about what I want in a partner. Because I didn't date enough in my 20s. Like I was I was like a relationship person. So I feel like I didn't date enough in my 20s. So now that I'm 32, I'm like, I want to be intentional, and also date with an open heart. So to date for me, for an open heart, you gotta like heal things that you just patched up with a Band-Aid. Yeah. That should have had some surgery.
Yeah, I think on that note, I definitely agree. I think dating got better once you start doing the work. So for me, being always on the move and like putting my career first or school or whatever it was, that was always first. Relationships were always secondary or tertiary. They were never at the forefront. So I had to do the work. Like, why am I so scared of relationships? Or why is it sometimes hard for me to commit or communicate? Or what it is it that I'm doing to, you know what I'm saying, to just run away from it. And I had to realize that, okay, I come from a culture where the women that I saw were very strong women. I, you know, aspire to even have half of their strength, but it was like when they did choose their career or they did choose what they were interested in or what they loved, it was almost as if it was used against them. If their kids made a mistake, if their men, you know, cheated or stepped out, or it was always like the women had to do all the work and own everything. And that's all I saw, you know, where the men didn't, you know, it was always the woman's fault. And so life was already hard for me, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to be the, you know, the first of many, and then I gotta go, then I'm gonna have this relationship that I'm gonna have to own all this stuff. Ooh, this is heavy.
It's like when you have such a multicultural family, and the way religion plays an aspect into it. Culture, being first generation American, how, you know, dating is very different from my mom. She's from Trinidad. And from a small little city in Trinidad, like so dating was much simpler for her, and then you know, being here living in LA, your life is a little different. So I think one of the key things is I want to know what does balance look like for me? What do I need in a partner? What does support look like? What support look like? What is my love language? And I had to like
what is their love language? And what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to compromise? Because it wasn't just all the work on the other person, but what do I need to relearn? Because I've kind of been dating myself for so long, or just being by myself. Like, it was like, well, you got a problem with that? That's your problem.
And a key
that ain't me.
A key thing that I realized is like, because I'm such a staple in my family with being a problem solver. When I was in relationship,
we're both the Olivia Popes. I think we have a trauma bond. Which is why I think the relationship, again, doing the work, the therapy, realizing that being the oldest or the Olivia Popes or the solution finders in the family, you don't want to go, your biggest fear is going into a relationship where you're doing that too.
And then like for me too, I had to recognize like I was like using logic and with everything, which is good. You have to be logical. And one thing I am is like I have intelligence, like emotional intelligence, but I was also just like detaching the emotion. So I would be like, I have a problem with this, but the person didn't know. I didn't know how to say it makes me feel like this.
Because you always had to compartmentalize everything because of the solution finder. If you go into every solution and you don't have practice emotional intelligence, then you can make the situation worse. So because the person, my person, whoever I was dating at them, didn't understand that might have hurt my feelings, but I was like giving them a logical like breakdown of what just happened there, you know, and then like, well, you should have just said that hurt my feelings.
That hurt my feelings, and this made me sad or whatever, or I'm crying, and then it would be like they would be so confused when I just like after like it would be like 4 months later and all those emotions hit me because I didn't deal with them, and they'd be like, what the hell, you bringing up the past and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, this is in my mind, I'm like, this is what I'm now dealing with, because back 3 months ago I just had to assess it logically. So this is where I'm learning to meet both and communicate that to whoever I'm dating with we're in a relationship. Like, you know, I feel sad today because this, or I feel vulnerability was a big thing for me too. Vulnerability, learning how to be honest within vulnerability and stuff like that, and hearing,
and showing love. I didn't realize how, I think my dad wanted a son. I didn't realize how I was socialized almost, and I hate doing this because it's like gender lines and performing gender is way more fluid than we think it is. But it was like, all right, okay, you spilled milk on the floor, get up, clean it up, it's spilled. Why are you crying for? You done crying? Move on. And I didn't realize all those things were making me lose touch with my femininity, with my emotions, and how to express and communicate certain things, and also just in turn making me like a cold person. which is no fun to date.
No, it's no fun. It's no fun. And then also recognizing that men are, to me, a little bit more sensitive than what we think.
Yes, and so people always like to say, "Yeah, remember?" I be looking on that. Why you crying? What's your problem?
Right? What's your problem? Are you kidding me? You did X, Y, and Z, and you mad? Like, it's kind of like
bruh, which is still not good, because we should embrace the fact that they're in tune with their emotions. They're expressing themselves, and they know what they're doing. I was dating this one guy for a very short period of time, and we're friends still. And I think it's because I appreciate the fact that he was so vulnerable and owned his shit and like expressing his emotions and who he was, and but still he still comes from like the hood a little bit or whatever, but still being like, look, I come as hard as I am, but what I'm not going to do is I'm going to always tell you how I feel, Nadia, and I want you to do the same, and I'm always going to express myself, and you should expect nothing less. And I can still provide, and I can still do all those things, and it doesn't take away from who I am, which changed the standard of what to look for in dating.
Right, that's true. I think for me, I don't know if you ever dated outside your race.
No,
I did. I have dated outside my race, and I've also learned things in that aspect.
I think the furthest I've gone, I was dating like
Hispanic. Yeah.
I don't think I don't know.
Yeah, that is. You're black, so Hispanic. Yeah, it's still a person of color.
Right.
Like, I feel like I've dated like, I never dated like a white guy, but I've dated like Arabic guys. I've dated like Dominicans, like so I feel like
he was Dominican.
Yeah, like it's still like a person of color for me, but still different cultures, and their nature's a little different. So I think with my last Arabic boyfriend, I dated one Arabic guy.
Well, I guess I did, because my daddy's Arab. Well, half Arab. Okay, sorry, that was just no. Not that I really dated my dad, but say your first love is always your dad.
It is always your father. So like, I feel like he was, I guess, quote unquote, a little bit more feminine, but like that kind of thing. So it was like a lot for me, because he was so emotional, and I was like, I'm a logical person and everything, and it was until like a year after that relationship, I was just like, man, that is still a good quality for me. It was maybe a lot for me in the beginning. Like, he was just like, I feel this way about you. And I was like, oh, we only been dating a month. Like, what's happening? Like I said, I ain't ready. I was just hiding at the table, and like it was just a lot, because I was not used to that kind of expression of thing. And and that was like, I dated him. We were friends for a long time, but I dated him when I was 28, and I was just like, yo, like, this is a lot. Like, the things he would like say was just a lot for me at that time. Okay. But now I realize, like
what was a lot about it?
Oh gosh, he was a Cancer too. So Cancer.
So now you're going to talk about signs.
I'm just saying, he was Arab and a Cancer. So
she gonna pull that.
And it was just like bombarding me with like message after me, and I was like, at that time I was like, just started. I think I was just only a year or two in LA, so I was like super just on my grind about working, and now I see what he was talking about, like 3 years later, whatever, about like making time for relationships and love, and like he was still a lot for me. I still will never date him again, because he was still a lot, but I learned a good lesson. I realized what he was saying later on, because he was so family oriented and all that stuff. But it was just like, I learned that I need emotional maturity, because I feel like he was just dumping everything on you. If he had a bad day, he was dumping that on you. If he had a good day, everything was extreme. And I think that I realized that I want to date somebody with some maturity with their emotions.
That's a good one. I mean, I can relate to that too. Dating someone with maturity in their emotions. I think just also, one of my most interesting toxic relationships, although very toxic, taught me communication and the importance of communication. So although I didn't know that communication was that important in a relationship, I think that's one thing I later realized was I had to look for. And so dating people who knew how to say what they wanted and when they wanted, because I could literally go off on a tangent, or I could just literally be in my own bubble, and I'm gonna need you to reel me back in, and I need you to be able to communicate that and not feel like you're, you know, there's gonna be a problem. So
I mean, and it could be, when you think about communication, it's like sometimes your religious aspect kind of hinders the way you communicate.
Why would you say?
Because like, let's say you date somebody that is in a different religion from you. They might operate a little bit different. Yeah. You know? So
that's funny, because I've dated within my religion and outside, and I think one of the relationships I was like, oh, this could be, you know, the one. I think it didn't work because we were of two different religions too. Yeah, because I think, you know, I don't know, I never saw it as an issue, but I think that people are very tied to their beliefs and like what they want, and I think it just comes to the matter of how you want to raise your kids, and I see it as being more open-minded and like letting them be exposed to as many different things. I feel like that can only strengthen your faith in whatever you believe in. However, he didn't have those same agreements. I think that was a big worry for him, and again, while I still respect his judgment or whatever, but you're right, that communication and how you maneuver, that is a, you know, that is a big deal. And so you kind of have to have all these conversations, I would say, up front. Because figure out how important are these you know, these things to you, and deal breakers, so you guys don't waste each other's time
early on. Yeah, especially when it is of like, you know, if you're a Christian and you date a Muslim, or they have different, the men have different roles, like tend to be, or Jehovah's Witness. So, or
in my culture, women don't have a religion. So technically, you know, as I'm dating within cultural standards, if I dated a Christian who happened to be from Sierra Leone or even West African, and they know that, then it's like, although I have agency of also being born in America, it's almost as if I really think about the culture, I'm told that I have to go wherever my husband is.
Yeah, I think that was a little shift when I dated the Arabic guy. He was cool. He was so protective, and that's one quality I did like. He was very, very like he was, like I said, he was like what is it called? Emotional flasher. That's the term. Emotional flasher. I heard that term. Can you explain? Can you? Like when somebody dumps all their emotions on you, like I said, emotional flasher. Okay. But he was also I knew that whatever I needed, he got me. Okay. You know, he had my back, and that's what I think
ultimately that's what you want. You want somebody that's gonna have your back and be consistent.
Oh, consistency is a big thing.
Consistent.
These new age Instagrams, influencers, they giving you relationship advice.
The influencers giving you relationship advice. And I don't think you would date an Instagram influencer.
Girl, I have.
Ooh,
I have.
You look like that was the
longest breakup that I ever experienced.
Oh, sorry.
I'm still traumatized.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that was the worst. That was the worst because he needed a lot of affirming.
Okay.
And a lot of, because he was so into the Instagram, like, because that's his job. You know,
he was validated by that.
Yeah, with other people, and I could barely manage social media, and I'm like, I don't really care about this stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
Now you know who manages our social media.
Nadia.
She just snitched on herself.
I would not be in the comment. Like,
she will. We gonna split this work. This is a 50-50 partnership. This is how relationships are supposed to work.
Well, I'm communicating. I'm not good at that. So this is how relationships work. You got to listen to me when I communicate. I ain't gonna be in the Instagram.
Okay, y'all. If y'all know, this is why. If anything happens, y'all know now. So yeah, now y'all know. Yeah, you know, you guys are aware. Okay, but relationships and dating now. Where are we?
Well, I had took a break. I really did. I took I want to say after that I told you that traumatized the Instagram person. And I had
she cursed out this traumatized Instagram person, y'all. And when I say that could have been a whole episode here today.
It wasn't a cuss out.
Hilarious. So funny. I can't even put it into words.
Oh my God.
What she did, but
he's gonna watch this and gonna be like, no, I'm talking about it.
We didn't say his name.
Right, good.
We ain't put you out there, although we should say no. I would never out anyone, please, no, would never do that.
But yeah, but I learned a lot. Like that's one thing about me. It's like I take.
Oh, sorry, but I say that to say that was her. Okay, although it was funny, what was good about it was she was setting clear boundaries.
Yeah.
And sticking to her boundaries that she was setting. And I think that's also a very important thing in a relationship, whether it's falling off, ending, or whether you're still in a relationship. Knowing your boundaries and what, my mom will always say, what you're going to do today, make sure you're going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing for boundaries.
Yes, that situation forced me to have boundaries. How do you expect a person to respect your boundaries if you don't respect your boundaries you set? And so that was a good thing that I had to I probably needed to learn that lesson because I used that lesson all across the board in terms of my work life, my friendships, my now that I'm dating, I have boundaries. And it was even the littlest thing, like when I would be like in the middle of something, let's say like this person would call me and ask me to do something, I would stop what I'm doing to help this person. And I had to learn if you're in the middle of something and you have to honor whatever commitment you're doing you could simply just say, hey, I'm I'm busy. Can I call you back? Am I busy? Can I maybe think? And this person always made me feel like I was obligated to help them because they'll get an attitude so I needed to learn that because now I use these boundaries I direct. So I'm boundaries in the way when I'm doing projects and when I'm creating projects and and making sure I stick to what it is and not let somebody sway me because they might have an attitude or they might feel entitled to your time or their title. And it was just learning that and being okay with it was a big thing. So everything I learned in this Instagram influencer situation was what I needed to learn because it definitely made me a better person across the board. So I feel like God was like, let me plop this asshole in your life real quick. And
he does that too. I had a couple of them. And I was just like, please, I don't want to remember this person a day. I've learned my lesson. God, don't bring him back. Don't repeat this cycle. Hope there's no karma left over. Let him stay far, 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 far away from me.
Right. And people, what I did learn is make a decision, make a clear decision. When people show you who they are,
believe them.
Exactly. Believe them. And then it's okay.
They ain't changing. And especially if they I want to say 27, 28, even over 30, they're stuck in their ways. They're not.
And for whatever reason, whatever trauma they have,
you can't change no man. And man, you can't change no woman. You can't change anybody. They gotta want it for themselves. And so if they doing the same old fuckery type of shit,
right? And I think sometimes we think, but let's help them, let's show them kindness, let's show them this, they will change for me. And it's like, no, this is who they are. I am who I am, so that person is gonna be who they are.
Let them own it, and you own it, and you can only control yourself, so control your destiny and the situation that you can afford to be in. Now I was that girl too who was in situations that I know I had no business being in that were toxic as hell, that I probably gained 50 pounds off of, depressed, along with other stressful factors happening in my life. And I had to, get help, but it was like, why are you even here? What even led you here? You know what I'm saying? If it's support that you need, you don't have to, or you help that you need, you don't have to get it in these type of situations. If it's, whatever it is that you feel like is missing, there's always a healthier way to you know what I'm saying? To figure it out. And we're not here judging anyone that's listening. It's more like, I had to learn, how can I build a better support system so I don't fall into these situations? How can I have, what's the word that was used in conversation we had earlier today, where a safe space or a place where you can go with trusted individuals that will tell you the truth and help you grow, whether that's your therapist, your spiritual advisor, your life coach, whomever. Set yourself up for, for success. And sometimes these people, for me, that support me in all these relationships, especially sometimes they're real, actual therapists, and sometimes they're fake people. So, or it might be a book or author, or it might be all right, what would Gandhi do? You know what I'm saying? How would he, channel this? What energy would he give into this situation? So, figure out who it is you need to channel, work with them, whomever. To focus on yourself, love on yourself, date yourself, care for yourself, so then that way you're maneuvering into the
right. And what works for you might not work for like somebody else's relationship. I remember when I was in
comparison is the thief of happiness.
I remember when I was in Amsterdam and I was like going to a bus station. This is the weirdest story. I was walking to the bus station and it started raining, and this lady like literally rolled up beside me. She was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, to the bus station. And she was like, "Get in, I'll give you a ride." And I'm in Europe that time, I'm traveling by myself, and I was like, before I can even say no, she was already putting my like suitcase in her car. So I was like, okay, so if she kills me, it's fine. Like, I don't know. So we go into the bus station and she's telling me that that she's married to a woman. She's married to a woman, and her wife never lived together. And to me that was odd, because you learn marriage, you and your partner,
you cohabitate.
Yeah, you live together. But what I took from, and she told me a lot of other things. She was like, yeah, but the marriage is ending, and and I'm 10 years older than my wife, but it's okay, because like, and I was listening to stories about like there's an art of letting go.
I love that story.
Yes, like I was like, it's an art of letting go. There's an art of like what works for you guys works for you guys. You don't have to explain it to anybody else. And when it's a healthy
That's my
thing,
motto.
yeah, like as long as you guys are not in abusive, hitting each other, blah blah blah. Some things might not make sense to somebody else. For me, when at that age, I was just like, oh, that's so weird. Like she doesn't live with her wife. She doesn't, she's like talking to her wife in such a beautiful manner that even though she just mentioned that they're like divorcing, they're separating, and
it's like you can even still do that with love.
Oh yes, you can let somebody go with so much love, grace, and integrity, and they agreed for that. Like,
but I don't know if you said this, because she's told me this story before, and I've dissected it in different ways, but what I got from it is you got to experience people. And sometimes that experience could last forever, and sometimes it can't. But if you focus on the experience and what you've learned or grow from it, then you can at least have a piece of love in it. You know what I'm saying? And that has just been something that I try to even carry out even in my current situation. When I'm not God, I don't know if this is forever, although we might be like, oh my God, I love this person.
Right.
You never know, so I'm going to experience it, and then I'm going to hold on to what that might look like. Even past ex relationships, I'm still friends with a lot of those people. We're not friends, we're still cool, cordial, but it's because I have learned what can I have learned from this experience. And even the ones that are probably not the best, and I need to stay away from them because they probably were narcissists. It's like if I saw you, it'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? I don't hate you, but I can't give you any more energy.
You don't have to let them in your space. You don't.
It's no love lost. It's just I can't take away from myself to give to you anymore.
And I believe sometimes, we throw the word toxic and all that around.
Right.
Sometimes that person don't even realize, because they've been rewarded for their bad behavior their whole life, or ignored. They don't even realize that what they're doing to you is unhealthy.
Yeah, they don't, but
some of them don't. Some, I'm not going to say all of them. Some of them are intentional with their fuckboy shit. But I just think like there's some people that you're like, dang, like when you start asking them about their father or their mother and their blah blah blah, it's like, oh, it's a generation. Y'all a generation of unaccountability.
But you know who I can't be accountable for? Myself.
Right.
You know who I can't control? Myself.
Right.
You know who I can't tell what to do? Myself. So with that being said, I think that's just been my approach. Experience people, control yourself, Nadia. What do you bring to the table? And and how are you constantly working on yourself to grow, to put forth your best self? Because the relationship is work.
Yeah, and if you bring your best self across the board to any relationship, any job ship, any family ship,
even raising kids,
right?
You got to bring your best self, because those kids. That's why we are having these conversations, or we're speaking on our traumas, or like what our upbringing was like, or what religions we come from, because all those things trigger or impact the person that you become.
And one more thing, it is okay to change your mind. Okay?
Yeah.
It is okay. If you wanted this person, he got to be 6'4", dark skin, blah, 6 figures, blah blah. But tomorrow you met a guy that is
You want some more?
has an own business or whatever, and you say, I really like this guy, it is okay to change your mind. And I think comfortability in changing your mind, but communicating that is a beautiful thing, you know? I think sometimes as women, we get stuck into the idea of what we want. Like what one of my friends said, like, sometimes we block our blessings by not recognize by, like, because we have these checklists of things.
And these strong, you know, rigid
right, and it could come in a different package, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to say, you know, I want this now.
I agree.
You know, and this no longer serves me.
That's true. This no longer serves me, or this still serves me. Or if it is servicing something, it's okay to be there for that reason or season. But know that, you know what I'm saying, and recognize what the next step is. I think another last thing I would like to say is, like, there's a fine line between settling and what's the word I'm looking for? Like settling and compromise, or settling and, you know, whatever. And so that, you know, be careful who you share your relationship woes with, because some people might see it as settling, some people might see it as compromise, but also know, like, what does that really mean for you, you know, because you got to maneuver through this relationship, and it's a choice to want to be with that person every day and to show up for that person, be there, and also be there for yourself. So I think that's a good way to end this. I mean, we wouldn't. This is just our tea.
I know.
We would have to have like 10 episodes to talk about all our stuff or whatever, and what we've learned in relationships over the years, the last 3 decades.
You'll never see it on my social media though. But
I mean, you can catch some of it on these album reviews that I do or whatever. And I'm working on a couple more projects, but y'all just gotta stay tuned, you know.
But one thing is, for me, I use my creativity to help me heal through certain things. So when I'm out of something, I made like a short film about like a couple that was in a constant state of the same argument, but it's the way they approached the argument was a different thing. So I use art all the time. Art, I will paint, I will do anything, any kind of outlet to kind of make sense of what happens, you know?
Same for me, which is why the album covers in the project. So you can think of us like Beyonce. So we gonna drop our next lemonade album. It might be pink lemonade, and one might be Kool-Aid.
With extra sugar.
It's coming to a streaming network near you.
Oh my God, this was so much fun. I think we talked for like an hour, but thanks for tuning in to another episode of Speakherbox, and we hope you guys keep coming back.
And enjoy the rest of the collection. We still got an episode with our tribe coming up, people that we, you know, near and dear to our house and our hearts, and then we have Dr. Corey Emanuel, who's our expert, talking about some relationship gems. So
come back every week.
Finish out the collection.
Come back everything. So you can find us on all social media platforms at Speakherbox Pod, and our website is
Speakherboxpodcast.com.
Subscribe too, because you know we have so many things coming up.
Subscribe.
And we always gonna drop like who the music, who the artist, whatever's coming out of Speakherbox. We don't even know sometimes. Sometimes it's just like a mood, you know. We don't even know. So like, thanks for taking this journey with us. See you next episode.
And keep going on the journey with us. All right, y'all. Have a good day.
Ciao.